So the next step of the life cycle of a plant is fertilization. Now, when the pollination has occurred, the pollen has been transferred from the anther to the stigma. Now, what will happen? This pollen will, when they land on the stigma will give the signal and it will produce a pollen tube. You can see the pollen tube, that is this yellow tube that is starting from the stigma and it goes all the way to the ovule, right? So this is a pollen tubes, and this can only be formed if the pollens are from the same species. So this is one of the most important point, that stigma will send a signal to form the pollen tube only and only when the pollen are from the same species. Okay, so in order to avoid other kind of species, other kind of pollens from means other from other species, the stigma has to be accurate, means stigma has to produce a signal only and only when their pollen are from the same species. All right. So the fertilization is actually the fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete. Okay, so how this fusion occurs? First of all, when after the pollination means the transfer of the pollen from the anther to the stigma. So this has been done when the the pollen has been transferred from the anther to the stigma. Now this stigma will send a signal and they will form pollen tube. Alright, now the pollen tube has been formed. Now the pollen can easily travel through this pollen tube and it will goes directly into the ovule, right? This in the ovule, as you know that in the ovule the female gametes are the ovule are actually the female gametes and pollen are the male gametes. So now the male gamete and the female gamete has been fused together. So now what will happen? This is known as fertilization. The fusion of the male gamete with the female gamete is known as fertilization, and due to which a zygote will form. When the male gamete and the female gamete are fused together, a zygote will form. And as soon as a zygote will form, this ovary will send the signals to the flower, and all the parts of the flower, like for example anther, stigma, style, and their petals and their sepals as well, they will wither off. Alright, they will wither off. Only two parts of the flower will be left, that is the ovules and the ovary, and the rest of the parts of the flower will just wither off. Okay, and this all things happens just after the fertilization, not before the fertilization. Okay, so after the fertilization, these ovules contains zygote inside them. These zygotes keep on dividing and they form embryo. Okay, and after this ovule will turn into the seed, and this whole big ovary containing all the seeds inside them will turn into a fruit. The coating, the outer layer of the fruit, depends on the type of a fruit it is forming. Like for example, if it is forming a tomato, so its outer shell will be kind of succulent or very soft or spongy. But if it is forming a orange, okay, and or a grapefruit, so its outer layer will be kind of leathery. And if it is forming groundnut, so its outer layer will be kind of dry. Alright, so it depends on the type of a fruit it is forming. And also the number of the seeds inside a fruit also depends on the number of the ovules that were present on the flower. Like for example, in tomato, there are so many seeds present. It means that a tomato flower must be having a lot of ovules inside them. Okay, so the number of ovules depends, the number of seeds actually depend on the number of ovules that are present in the flower. Alright, now one more important thing, that this pollen, the fusion of the pollen with the ovule actually has to be happened with all the ovules, and for each of the ovules different pollens has to go inside these ovules. Alright, like for example, they have given you one example, that when one pollen will land, so a pollen tube will form and the pollen will easily travel through this pollen tube and they will go inside the ovule, right? So it means that they have shown you only one example, only the fertilization of only one ovule, right? But this has to be happened in all the ovules, and for each ovule the separate pollens has to go inside the ovule. Okay, and for each ovule the separate pollen tubes has to be formed. Alright, so that when all these ovules will be fertilized, so all these ovules will turn into the seed. Otherwise only one ovule will be turned into seed. That we don't want. That actually doesn't happen. Okay, so it means that if there are like 14 to 16 ovules, so it means that they all have to be fertilized in order to form a seed. Okay, so this is what happened in fertilization. Alright, now let us just study some parts of a seed. Okay, now the seed has been formed, the fruit has been formed, and the seed has been formed. Now let us study what is a seed and what are its parts. The outer layer of the seed is kind of hard, all right, and this hard outer layer is known as a seed coat. It actually prevents the seed from drying or from harsh conditions, and it protects the embryo that is present inside them. Okay, so it actually protects the embryo in order to protect it from the harsh condition or dry conditions or very very intense sunlight. This seed coat is also known as testa. The scientific name of the seed coat, or in biology we call it a testa. Okay, inside the seed coat there is some soluble substances are also present inside the seed coat. They are actually the food store. They are food store for the embryo. They provide the food for the embryo. They are present in a soluble form inside the seed, and they provide the food to the embryo. Okay, and also some, as you can see over here, there in a embryo a plumule and radicle is already present. Plumule is the young shoot and radicle is the young root. For example, when this seed is germinated, the first root that is formed from this radicle, which is already present inside the embryo, and the first shoot that has been formed, that will be formed from this plumule, which is already present inside the embryo, inside the seed. Okay, so the radicle and the plumule are already present inside the seed, in the embryo. All right, now micropyle is a small opening that is present in the seed, and this is the point where when we sow the seed in the sand and we water the seed, so the water will enter through the seed by this hole. This hole is known as micropyle, and this micropyle has actually arrived by this pollen tube. When the pollen tube are formed, the pollen tube enters through the ovule through this hole. All right, so this micropyle has actually formed because of this pollen tube. Okay, so this is the structure of a seed. All right. Okay, so the substances that are present inside the seed are actually in the form of proteins and amino acids and starch. So these are the energy giving substances that are present in the food store that provides energy to the embryo, that keeps it alive. The seeds are dormant, means they are inactive, but they are not dead. The embryo is alive inside the seed. It is just in inactive form. It is just in dormant form. All right. Okay, so after this, after the fertilization, when the fruit is formed and the seed is formed, this seed has to be dispersed away, because if all these seeds will grow in near the parent plant, so what will happen? They will compete with the parent plant in order to get the sunlight, in order to get the enough water, or in order to get the enough space. Their roots will not spread evenly, to longer distances, because there may be no space left. So these seeds have to disperse away to a longer distance, away from their parent plant, in order to get the enough sunlight, enough water, and enough space, right? So there are some ways through which the seed get dispersed. These seeds are dispersed by wind. Some of the seeds are dispersed by animals, some by water, and some by explosive methods. All right, so for this dispersal of seeds and fruits, you must see a video that is present on the YouTube. You just have to search the dispersal of seeds and fruits on the YouTube, and you may get the video, and that's a very nice explanation of the dispersal of seeds and fruits. And we have already discussed about it in the class as well, and you can see the video on the YouTube as well. Okay, so after the dispersal, the main point of the dispersal is actually the competition. To avoid this competition between the parent plant and the young plant, the seeds has to be dispersed away to a longer distance. All right, now the last step is germination. You know, when we sow the seed in the soil, so these seeds actually starts to grow. Now how this seed will start to grow, that I will tell you in the next video.